Well, hello, everybody. It's great to be here. I hope you had a great morning. Our panel today is mainstreaming of CBD. So how does a product become a mainstream product, one might ask? It generally starts with a trend that in the best case goes mainstream. A particularly strong trend is a hype, which is the situation we have with CBD currently. But will the current CBD hype turn into a sustainable consumer trend? That is going to be one of the questions we have for today. But before we delve into it, the four panelists will introduce themselves. Chris, please.
I'm Chris Husong, Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Elixinol. We are a Colorado-based company that also has offices in Europe, Japan, and Australia.
Philip?
Hi, I'm Phil. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Cannamigos. Our company is based in Austria at the Lake Constance, and we mainly produce high-quality CBD products and also grow and sell hemp plants, because in Austria it's basically legal to have every kind of cannabis plant. It doesn't matter if it's a CBD or THC genetic, and this is what we basically do.
Roman?
Hello everybody, my name is Roman Dobrina. I'm Chief Business Development Officer at company PharmaHemp. PharmaHemp is company from Ljubljana, Slovenia. We say for our company that we control from the seeds, fields to the final consumer products, and we are considered to be one of the most innovative company in developing healthcare products based on CBD.
Hello, I'm Kai-Friedrich Niermann from Paderborn, Germany. I'm a lawyer. I'm in the field since 2 years. I'm consulting CBD and medical cannabis companies in all regulatory and legal issues.
Well, that was great. Let's delve right into it then. So CBD is taking the world by storm, but one has to ask the question, who is the consumer behind this demand? Chris, what do you think? Is there a typical CBD consumer out there?
This is probably the hardest question of the afternoon, because our demographic is anybody 8 to 80, any mammal almost, right, that can take CBD, right, because they all have an endocannabinoid system. So who is the average consumer? Anyone with an endocannabinoid system. However, we have to develop individual products that speak to those individual needs and those individual voices. So it's more in the delivery system, the marketing, and the messaging that we're able to fit those individual needs.
From a European perspective, Roman and Philip, would you agree?
Yes, I will agree, because there's no typical CBD consumer. Everybody buys it. So we regulate ourselves to sell the products at the age at 18. But from 18 to 80, you have everybody. The younger people maybe buy it for muscle regeneration or anything, and the older guys come for Rheuma. And also dog snacks and these things are sold. So it's a very bright consumer.
Roman, do you have anything to add?
Our experience is actually the same, because, but what we were a bit surprised. We have our internet portal sales, and we were measuring some aging. So it is only 2% of our sales, but our average consumer was 35 years old, which was, to me, surprisingly young.
So we have all these consumer types, all these different products, new product developments are rapidly increasing. So let's take a step back. How would you categorize it? How would you give a beginner-friendly take on all these products? Which categories do we have? Maybe Philip or Chris?
It's how Chris told before. It's more a thing for marketing, because it depends to the customer. We also have the grannies which comes in, and you think maybe the capsules or the oil are the best for her, but she's asking for flowers for smoking. This also can happen. So I think, how he said, you should place in the development some products for different types of consumers, but you never can say that this is fixed.
So we focus on delivery systems. We want to make sure you get the most amount of high-quality CBD for high-quality people. We use a liposomal product to make sure that you feel the effects really fast for those that need those right away. We have a topical for those that want to put it on that way. We have capsules because people are just used to taking pills. We want to make sure that you develop the way in the delivery system that you're going to get the most impact in the way that you'll take it.
If you look at the production method and all these different types of intakes, what you can have with CBD, do you have to think then, I'm going to produce it like this to this mean? Or does it not matter? In any case, maybe Roman.
Yeah, we have different sort of production depending on our final product. For example, I don't know, we are now stressing, for example, creams with glucosamine for the joints. You know, this is special technique, is old recipe, and then we have special, I would say, co-partner with the GMP facilities. So, you know, each product is a bit unique. And what we learned for is also with all the consumer products, stability studies are quite demanding. So we have to be really, I would say, focusing and really takes time. It's not that easy.
So the demand, we heard, is rapidly increasing. At which rate is it increasing? Would be my first question. And also, is it possible to meet this demand as a single supplier? I mean, obviously we have a US perspective and a European perspective on this, but can you give any insight to how rapid this demand is? I can see Roman wanted to
I can tell in our case, our company last year grew ×3, almost ×4. Of course, with new categories, new lines, and coping with this is, you know, managing your working capital, having the right capacities, well planned. For us is also important, I would say, traceability, continuity. So we really trace each product. So, and building this at the same time. So it takes really all the resources of the company. Because, you know, you can do, if you do something fast, you can do it wrong. This was our experience.
So we're a global company, and we're delivered to 42 different countries. So our perspective globally is that we've secured source for 5 to 6 times our growth from last year, which was 5 to 6 times the year before. So we're absolutely looking to be able to supply the increase in demand that seems, by best aspects, everyone's saying somewhere between 16 and 20 million in the next 3 years, billion in the next 3 years, which is an unimaginable number when you realize that just last year it was only 1 billion. Right? And I feel weird saying only 1 billion, but 22 billion is a lot bigger than that. So everyone has to scale and everybody has to grow, and that's why everybody in this room has an opportunity to really be a part of that.
Philip, have you got anything to add from your perspective?
Yes, for sure. I can say the demand is rising up very fast. It's also, I think, because of the media, the TV and so on, because the people get informed about cannabis again. It's coming back through to the humans. And also the guys talk to each other. And we see a lot of times the customers come in our shop and they are informed before, because we are not allowed to give some health claims or anything, the CBD, but they know it before they come. So you see about the internet, the media or anywhere, they hear about and they want to try it. And 8 from 10 come again and buy again. So this is a nice rate.
Maybe also a question for you directly now, Philip. So the demand is increasing in a fast rate. You're still a startup, if I may say, a small company. How does your company deal with the fast-moving nature? If you're such a small company, what do you focus on? I mean, sudden increase in demand and also the regulatory obstacles will put on workload onto your table. How do you deal with that?
I think it's important to make a good product line for yourself, to see that you can give for every kind of person something special. But I think there are so many products that the people are often overloaded. They don't know what they should buy because they are not from this topic. They are not out of the cannabis industry or they haven't been smokers before. So they come in and sometimes they are overloaded with different oil concentrations. They said, okay, should I take the 5%, the 10%, the 20%? I don't know. So I think it's important to hold the product line small and good, and so you can have something for anybody. And build a good network is also important for the B2B, and so you're able to deliver nearly everything.
Okay. Roman, what's your take on this?
I would agree with my colleague on my right about the consumers. I think what is unique in this business, and we've been in business for 30 years, that actually I've never met so well-educated consumers. They study on the net, they're very educated, and they're very loyal. So this would be my point, that if you deliver the right, really what you say, consumers will stay with you.
Okay. Chris, how do you see it from your perspective?
Yes, I believe we are dealing with a more educated client than we were dealing with 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And absolutely, we're learning to help feed the need that those educated buyers have. But I think the bigger opportunity is those that have no idea what CBD is, have no idea what cannabis is, never heard of an endocannabinoid system, and are just looking to feel better, to meet a need that they have. And what we're doing is working on our messaging and our packaging to just offer that. You know, I want to sleep better. I want to feel better. I want to get rid of inflammation. I want to get rid of pain. And then create a product that says that. I think one of the challenging things in our industry is that there's a certain segment of our clients that want to know the percentage and the genealogy and the seeds and where it was grown. And others just want to know, is it good? Is it going to help me? Where can I get it? And we have to be able to speak to both those type of clients.
So it already came through in some of the answers, and now we're moving on to the regulatory question of this panel. Kai, you're going to be up in a sec. But basically, so we have hindrances, for example, not being able to talk about it, health claim issues, and so forth. And which registration is important in this context? What would you say, Kai? What's the homework that has to be done when selling a CBD product?
Yeah, first, the most common product we have at the moment is the supplement. So it's a supplement to your normal diet, and it's labeled as a supplement. Then you have to notify your product in the supplement register, and you have to label it correctly due to the EU supplement directives, and you have to give notice that it's out of reach of children, and you have to name the main ingredient, and you have to do that pretty correctly, and then you can sell it as a supplement. The other way is, or the problem is that you can't make a health claim. I think this is the biggest problem for the industry, because if you have a nice brand in a nice shop and the consumer comes in and asks what this for, I can't tell you. Well, that doesn't make sense, you know. So in the future, the companies have to work on that, and the EU legal framework offers two options. You can apply to get into the EU health claims catalog. Or you can register your product as a traditional herbal medicine. Then you, of course, have to prove the effects or the health claims you want to make. You have to some research, some study, some database on that to be able to register it as some kind of this product. Yeah.
So hearing that, wouldn't it basically make more sense to go the pharmaceutical route, so you are able to talk about it to the consumer, also thinking about the consumer's interest in transparency in this context? What's all your opinions on that question?
I mean, if you make a health claim, and even if someone else makes a health claim for you on your product, you are in danger that your product will be deemed as a medicine according to the Medicine Act, like a presentation medicine, a Präsentationsarzneimittel. Yeah, that's the risk if you want to become a real medicine, like according to the AMG, the medicine law, then this is very complicated. This costs lots of money, clinical studies, trials, placebo, double-blind, etc. That's over the top, I think, because it's just a supplement. It's just it's intended for homeostasis, for being balanced, and not for curing diseases. Yeah. So you have to find a workaround in that.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I don't think it's as complicated as that. I think that it gets more complicated because people want to make claims, because they want to tell you all the amazing things that they've felt that this plant and this product has done. But the reason CBD works is because it gives the information to your body to help it heal itself. And if we just explain to people that this aids in the relief of temporary sleeplessness, this supports you being able to have less inflammation in your body. If you use the right vocabulary and the right words as the guidelines of the different regulatory bodies in each individual country, it's easy. Where it becomes hard is when people say, it cures this. My dog now walks, right? Those type of things and that's the challenge. And we're one of the only major CBD companies that has not received a warning letter from the FDA in the United States because we follow those guidelines 100%. And it's very important that we do that. And as an industry and as a community that we support companies that do that. And we don't follow the easy route, the temporary route of a quick sale because we want to say this one thing. And if we just learn the education and learn the way to say it, it's a lot simpler.
Roman, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we don't use claims, as you know. We sell cosmetic products. We have the plans to upgrade to some medical device, which we need some studies. But this is back to the point, consumers are educated, they do study. So I think that we should just, guide them, educate them, as colleague have mentioned. So this is the right way. We should not use hard words, but we know how, Europe is very precise on this, actually.
So let's get a bit more specific on that one. So best practice, you're selling it, but you're not allowed to talk about it. How do you do it, Philip?
This is a very good question. It's how I told you before, the most people come already informed to the shop. But for sure, a lot of times the people come in and tell you about their issues and if it helps or not. But you have to say you cannot give any answers for this because you're not allowed. You're not a pharmacy, you're not a doctor. You can try it for this. This is what you can say. Maybe some other consumers or customers already have an experience with the same topic and they talk to each other. This is also a possibility. But the people understand it. When you say you're not allowed to inform about some health claims or anything, they understand it and they just try it. And when they try it, they come back.
How do these consumers educate themselves outside of your shop? So they come educated. How do they get the information? Do you have any idea on that?
I think you can find a lot of in the internet. The problem in the internet is that there are a lot of informations which are not founded, just opinions, and this is a problem, I think. So we need more official websites, official organizations where the people can inform by themselves.
Okay, anybody anything to add? So let's address the specific topic, novel food, in this context, because it's been in the media a lot in recent weeks. How do you guys live with the novel food regulation at this point? Maybe it's the same with the FDA approval that stands in the room. How do you go about this? Chris, maybe from the FDA perspective, please.
Sure. So the FDA in the United States and the novel foods here in Europe is different regulatory boards run those. And we're working closely with each one of those to make sure that we already meet all of the guidelines for those in our manufacturing and distribution and testing processes. And we're working with them to make sure that when available, we'll be ready to get those certifications. But until that point, nobody said we can't move forward. So we're acting business as usual. And as they ask for more information about our products, more information about the industry, we're providing those. We're working with lobby groups. We're working with industrial and industry groups in 42 different countries to be able to do so.
Kai, from a legal perspective, what would you recommend companies in regard to novel food? What would you say to them if they want to set up a business now on CBD?
Yeah, we have seen a lot of new developments in the last month regarding novel food. It started in Austria as the Ministry of Health in Austria advised the governors to enforce the novel food regulation. And then there must have been some discussions on bilateral political in Brussels, and they decided in January to change the novel food catalogue. Before that, it was if the percentage of CBD is higher than in the original plant, So this left room for interpretation. And now it is all extracts from all cannabinoids extracts are novel food. So what is an extract? What's the definition? What's the interpretation of an extract? And then you can you need a solvent if you extract some solvent method or some solvent stuff. And then you start the extraction process. It's still, as I learned, it's still whole plant then, but you change the percentages. So you enrich and you make it more from the stuff you want, and you get the stuff out you don't want. And at this point, you are in the Novel Food Directive. The Novel Food Directive is applicable to your product. And we see that in the BWL, just next door, is the Food Authority of Germany. It's they published a new entry on their webpage where they expressively say if you enrich your product with CBD, it's novel food. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen the next 6-9 months. We saw the example in Austria, the Ministry of Health instructing the governors to enforce the Novel Food Directive. You can read it on the Food Safety Authority in Ireland on their webpage. If we get to know cases of extracts of products using extracts, we will go after them. But they also say, and this is the bottom line, I guess, right now, which also IHA published in their paper. If you find a method which allows you that you have the full plant and you don't enrich something like a cold press, like a traditional manufacturing practice, you're on the safe side and you can use that product. But what I've learned also is that companies don't like that because the oil which uses extracts is easier to use, is consumer friendly, or people like it more to use. It's not as dark and as sticky, and it just looks nicer, and it's not as complicated to use a cold press method. But the future will. I think we will have some developments in the next near future on how the authorities react on that problem.
So maybe Philip and Roman, a question for you next. So we have these regulatory obstacles. What do you do when you get confronted with a new situation? Do you have workarounds for this? What would you recommend?
Yes, we have workarounds. At the first step, in Austria it happened at first. There we had to change quickly the declaration, just as a flavor product again, how it was before, some years ago. But this is just a short perspective. I think you have to change the process of the producing for the longer time frame. But also we have an exciting eye to the EU regulation in this market, because I think how Jan said, it's about 6 to 9 months. Then we will know more. And till this time, we have to have workarounds, how we say it. And there are different ways to do it.
Different declaration,
cold pressed stuff, and these things, yeah. This is the same like in the whole market. You have to stay very flexible at the moment because there's no good regulation.
Roman?
This novel food situation actually has been the same almost for a year and a half. It's about the execution of the novel food, So we were aware of this a year ago, so simply we do not claim on the pack we are food supplement, because then you're novel food. So there are ways how to avoid, you can market some products as a topical use as a cosmetics, and you have sometimes vitamin C which you put on the skin or you put below the tongue. This is how we do it. And in some cases, we have purely cosmetic products, creams, which are in CPNP portal. So it's a cosmetic product. So it's not only we have many products. We do not have only food supplement. Okay.
Has anybody applied for the novel food regulation yet? No.
have not, but we know they were one of the first companies. More than a year ago was one Czech company. We know this was from March last year, so it's quite some time.
Kai wants to answer.
It's from 2016, and they even haven't passed the first stage, which means they couldn't provide a toxicological survey that the product isn't harmful to the consumer.
So we heard from Chris. Chris is in dialogue with the FDA, in dialogue with the regulatory bodies. Now, from a European perspective, we all know the European Industrial Hemp Association was at the EU Commission recently. People are trying to find a dialogue. If you look at the media, though, it sometimes seems us and them. How should the industry take action against these obstacles, in your opinion? How should the industry organize themselves to make the product accessible to a wider consumer range? Sorry.
I know about the European Industrial Hemp Association. You know, they do efforts lobbying that, you know, this would pass and that cannabinoids would not be a novel food at a certain milligrams per day. We fully support this, and I think they've been quite successful. But as I'm not a regulatory person, this would be the only comment from this side.
Kai, what's your opinion? How should one organize oneself?
I suggest some decent litigation on this, so that you can continue to distribute your products. The authorities would have to issue a distribution ban, a really official distribution ban, and you can take legal remedies against this distribution ban, and they can only issue immediate enforcement, so that you really have to stop to sell these products, just in case of a danger of the consumer. And as we know, CBD has a good safety profile. The World Health Organization published the CBD report last June, and they found out that there are no side effects. They gave people over 3 months 300 milligram to 400 milligram per day, and no side effects showed up. So this can't be an argument. So you can distribute your products till the end of till the final legal decision. And that maybe can take 3, 4, 5 years. So I think this will be sorted out about litigation. If the companies doesn't if the novel food directive doesn't stop the companies, then it has to go to court.
Well, if you look to the UK, still Europe, UK Cannabis Trades Association is instructing a law firm to go and take action. Chris, do you think that's the right approach, to instruct a law firm to take action, or do you think it should be more, I don't know, a nicer dialogue on that, in that area?
Well, I know for us, we work with the European Hemp Association, we work with the Cannabis associations, we work with the U.S. Hemp Authority, we work with just about any trading association out there, because we know that there's not enough being done. Right? So whether it's legal action, whether it's lobbying, whether it's going to your different political representative and knocking on their door, I think more of that has to happen. I think we all have to internally regulate ourselves, and we have to internally cooperate and help make sure that the people that play well together do well, and the people that are trying to force their own agenda don't.
That's great. Now, in the description of the panel, there was also the competition from Big Pharma was in there. Do you have competition by Big Pharma, and how does it reflect on your daily business? Let's start with Philip, maybe here.
At the moment, I cannot say that we have a competition with the Big Pharma, because the reason why people buy these products is to go away from the Big Pharma, to go back more to nature and to natural producers. So when we produce it in Austria, we have our hemp fields, and it's all organic, grown, and the people know it, and it's transparent. I think they like to get more such a product than final medicine from the pharmacy. But it's up to the type of customer also.
Roman, do you have Big Pharma as a threat?
We don't we don't see them as a threat. I think this could be opportunity because they will focus on some other aspects where we cannot compete and we don't want to compete with them. We have already experience where we already cooperate with pharma producer, fairly big one, so we can work together.
Chris, how is it from a US perspective?
I think globally that any pharmaceutical company that wants to come into the market is only going to help educate, help normalize, and help get more people using it. Currently, Epidiolex is a $32,000 a year pharmaceutical. I don't feel any competition from somebody that's going to sell at that high level and be a, basically a pharmaceutical drug. Like to his point, people are looking for natural alternatives to give their body the information to heal itself. They're not looking for another opioid.
Right. Now, to take a step back away maybe from the regulatory topics, so the panel is called Mainstreaming of CBD. Now, it's just a very obvious question, but still, what is your outlook on this? How will the market develop? Will CBD become a mainstream product in your eyes? Anybody?
Absolutely, it has to. It's one of the most innovative, most effective things that's come out in history, right? It's been around forever, and we're just now starting to realize the effects of it. Thank you, to those that discovered the endocannabinoid system and, all the people that have been pushing the cannabis agenda for decades, and we're all standing on their shoulders. And I appreciate all the work and fighting that they've done to show the medical benefits of the cannabis plant. And now it's only getting to the point where it's normalizing, where people it makes no sense that this isn't the same as craft beer. Because right now, just imagine if craft beer came out as a trend at the same time Prohibition ended, right? That's exactly what this is, right? Our new craft beer is coming out exactly when Prohibition ended. And it's going to be normal, and everybody's going to take it, and you're going to grow it in your own backyard, and you're going to make it, and you're going to buy it at your own grocery store, and you're going to buy it from your doctor, and you're going to have all sorts of different flavors and ways to get it. And it's just going to be completely normal.
How will the intake be, Chris? Will it be sipping or smoking CBD?
Whichever way you want. For me, I love the topicals and our liposomal product because it just works so fast.
Because we have Martha Stewart apparently doing some developments, jelly bean CBD is in the air, all these news flashes have been about.
I appreciate again people looking for innovative ways to take CBD, and I'm sure my fellow panelists have some input on this. And I love that Martha Stewart is bringing this more normal, right? But we all know that a jelly bean is not a great way to take something that's going to help your body, right? It's a fun recreational way to take some other things, but CBD is probably not the best, in my opinion.
I agree with this. We directly see it with our customers because it's not just a trend, I think, because they come one time to try it, but they come again. And they say 8 from 10 come again. And so I think it will normalize, how you say. In Europe, not so much people know about CBD now, but you see the market is running and it's growing very fast, and I think it will normalize. We just will see how the regulation will happen.
Roman?
You all know that cannabis was called the 1 million plant back in the history because, we started to make ropes for the sailing, then the food, and each part of the plant was used. CBD is just on top of this. I think is revolutionary. I think this process cannot be stopped. I think that regulating would help us as well, organized producer, because what we found out, a lot of, I would say, producers which are now not consistent, which are not fair to the consumers. But I think sky's the limit, and we just should work together and focus in the future.
Kai, want to add anything? How do you think the market will develop from a legal point of view maybe as well?
Yeah, the interesting question will be how the authorities will deal with the Novel Food Directive in the next 6 to 12 months. We haven't seen any, I've no real cases on distribution bans or anything like that. I had two CBD sample imports which were stopped at the customs in Karlsruhe. One with the reasoning that CBD is medicine, and the import license wasn't there. Then they examined the product and realized, oh, it's only a 30 milligram daily intake, so it's not relevant for pharmacological effect, and they stopped the proceeding. And the other sample, they had health claims, so they could say, it's a medicine, it's a presentation medicine, and we keep it. So that's the only two cases I had, but it will be interesting. We have to see what's going on the next 12 months. This will be an interesting period.
Okay. Well, I'm not quite sure where we are on time.
You are very close. We have time for a couple of moments. Don't look for the
Shall we
man
have a
behind the
moment
curtain.
together?
Yes,
Hello.
let's have a few moments together. How are you? How are you? Let's hear it for the panel.
Okay, thank you for your attention.
Do we have time for maybe two questions? One or two questions? One or two? Anybody have a question? Brief question? No one? No? All right, I have a question. What isn't going to be full of CBD? Like you could put CBD in a cream, in a soap, can we have CBD infused strawberries or chickens or beef jerky or coffee? Like, what's the limit? Is it going to be in everything? Are we just going to put it in the water? What are we going to do?
There you go. Come on.
I hope that we continue to focus on high quality delivery systems so that it's bioavailable and people actually get the effects of it and it just doesn't pass through our body. I think it's very important that we continue to focus on full spectrum oils and really look at the science of bioaccessibility and bioavailability. So that will direct what we put it in.
I have a comment to Kai. I would never ever expect that you will be able to register a traditional herbal medicinal product with cannabis. This is impossible because you need 30 years of tradition and you will never prove it. I was involved in over 100 applications of registrations, and this is not the case. This is not possible.
That's why we do hemp.
There's an exemption in this paragraph that you don't need 30 years, and not necessarily you need 30 years.
At least you need 15 in the EU, and even this 15 need to be connected to an indication and an illness, and both is not there.
I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say I don't think you can say CBD is not connected to an indication for more than 10 or 15 years. Yeah. Okay.
All right, one more question. Over here. Here I go. And then that'll probably be it. Just pass it like a joint.
Thank you. So I'm wondering, I feel that CBD is super popular in a certain Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow lifestyle world, because I keep reading only in that context about CBD. So why do you guys think that is?
Why do you think it's popular with
Yeah,
Gwyneth
because,
Paltrow?
I mean, not personally, but...
Well, she told me. No.
No, I mean, sorry, to be more precise, I feel it's very popular in this world around lifestyle, yoga, consciousness, fashion even. So, kale, yeah, thank you.
For me, what I've found is that people are looking for alternatives, and that group, that market share, is looking for alternatives. They don't want to buy pharmaceuticals anymore. They want to biohack. They want to neurohack. They want to improve their lives. They want to invest in their health, not their sickness. So that's why they're making these decisions, and that's why they're moving forward. And that's why things like Gwyneth Paltrow and I think just recently Justin Bieber's wife was talking about it, and you know it's all over the place, right? And yeah, it's not. I don't think one of the Kardashians have talked about it yet, but still, it's overall CBD is moving into the health and wellness space, which is much bigger and much more impactful than dealing with indications.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think the trend is basically going back to the nature stuff. And I just think that these kind of people, when I can say it, like to support this trend. And this is why it happens.
Is there a way to ensure that you're getting quality CBD? I mean, because now you look everywhere, you see CBD this, CBD that. Is it hemp derived? Is it made in a vat? Like, how do you know that you're getting bioavailable or good stuff or quality? You just see, it's almost like they just throw 3 letters on a package and expect you to believe it. Like, how can people figure out what's good?
You're exactly right. That is happening. I haven't seen any of that in this room or this community or
no
this
one here
event
would ever do that.
But absolutely, there are people that are using CBD as a marketing term, like they did acai berries way back in the day. And CBD is much more than a movement or a fad like that. And it's more like the new aloe vera, and it's going to be in a lot of things, and it's going to be there. And you definitely want to know the quality and where it came from. Most of the companies up here, all of them, provide their certificates of analysis online. So that you can see the high quality that's available there. And additionally, you can read about it and see who's participating in these different organizations to move it forward that are participating with groups like this.
And where is all of this being grown? Like, is it all hemp derived? Is it all being grown somewhere? Or
Yeah,
I mean,
you don't have to tell me.
This is what we do as a company. You know, we, as I mentioned at the beginning, we control from the field seeds to the final product. We offer full transparency, certificate of analysis, MSDS, whatever you call it. And this is how it works on the long term. Because you can find the products with the CBD tag on, but if once you analyze, you will find hardly a trace of CBD. These things are happening.
And
we have farms throughout Europe and in the United States. We grow in both places, and we're growing hemp.
that was my next question. Do you think that there's going to be like a huge global expansion of CBD hemp in maybe like Portugal or Macedonia or some of these, not just Canada, Oregon, all these other countries?
I think every third question I got here is, I'm growing hemp. Where do you want to buy it? So absolutely, people are growing it all over the place. I think the challenge is, because hemp is such an amazing plant, it takes all the amazing things out of the ground, that it does really good things for you. But also, if you don't grow it in the right place, it takes all the crap out of the ground and brings it right into you. So you have to really be careful of where that source is coming from and where you're getting it.
And back to this, hemp now is being used in everywhere. They build houses. It's used in the automotive industry. There was a study what hemp does for environment. 15 tons of carbon monoxide per year is cleaned by 1 hectare of hemp. This is public data. So we should support hemp on all aspects, not only because of the CBD.
That's a good point. We have time for one more question, and then we're gonna move on.
Hello, everybody. So my question is around when we're talking about CBD, we're really talking about the flower that does not have the THC in it. A lot of times, we're not specifically only focused on the CBD. There's also a lot of other cannabinoids that are not mentioned that are included in those
in these full spectrum extracts that we're
Correct.
talking about. Yeah.
So with cannabis, there's very specific effects that you'll find with various strains. My question is really around the idea of strain hunting in the CBD market, and what are the I just anecdotes on that topic seem like a really interesting area of discussion.
I just can say that Europe is much different than the US, because you have controlled strains and the seeds. And I think Europe is not competitive here with Switzerland and US. And I think this could be potentially a problem in the future. But
yes, this is the thing, that we have a catalog of strains which we are allowed to use. And in some countries, you have the chance to select out of these seeds, but in other countries not. So in Germany, for sure not. You're just allowed to bring out the seeds and harvest what you got.
All right. Thank you all very much. Let's hear it for our panel. I'm sorry I didn't have time. But I'm sure you can talk to them in the hallway. That was fantastic. Philip, Rebecca, Roman, Chris, and Kai.